Hey everyone, thanks for checking out this preview review for Hyrule Warriors. Hyrule Warriors was a hack-and-slash territory control strategy game originally released on the WiiU. If that genre sounds confusing, it's basically just a Dynasty Warriors clone. The game was conceived by Team Ninja, known for Dead or Alive and Ninja Gaiden, and they worked together with Omega Force to develop it. If you're unfamiliar with Omega Force, they are basically the Dynasty Warriors dev team. They do most of, if not all of the other Dynasty Warriors clones as well. In the past, they've paired the Dynasty Warriors gameplay with series like Gundam, One Piece, Dragon Quest, Berserk, Attack on Titan, and more. In this case, they're teaming up with Nintendo to take on the Legend of Zelda universe. The game's story features classic Zelda characters as well as new characters teaming up to stop the sorceress Sia from bringing back the 4 parts of Ganon's soul to revive him. The story revolves around Link and his friends, including newcomer Lana, as they go through locations from several past Zelda games, including Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, and more. The game features several modes, including the Legend Story mode, in which you go through 18 stages and watch the story unfold. Other modes include Free mode, which lets you replay story mode stages with different character options, Adventure mode, which is a cool take on the formula using the 8-bit map from the original Legend of Zelda as the overworld. In this mode, each screen represents a different mission and may have items to collect which help progress further in later screens. The missions are basically just like the regular stages of the game. And finally, Challenge mode, which gives a player specific challenges on a map, such as defeat so many enemies or complete certain objectives. Like any other Dynasty Warriors style game, you start off on a map with a number of bases and enemy generators. You have to take these over by killing enough of the enemies and mini-bosses in the area. Once you take control of one, that point starts spawning your own army instead of enemies. Enemies will constantly attack the points you've taken over and try to take them back, so you're constantly moving around the battlefield making sure your points stay controlled and completing other various objectives. Missions end when you complete the last objective, which is usually a boss battle in this game. The one big exception to the standard gameplay from the Dynasty Warriors games is the one thing you need to have in any Zelda game, the items. Found in maps in story mode or adventure mode, items like the bow, bombs, boomerang, and more help you solve puzzles in the environment and figure out how to take down bosses. The puzzle solving element is pretty unique to this clone and really helps it feel more like a Zelda-inspired game. There's also some basic crafting involved. As you find materials throughout the game, you can use those to craft character upgrades. You can also combine weapons to create stronger ones. For the combat, it's about what you'd expect. There's a traditional combo system, and you can add new combos as you unlock badges and get new weapons. The game has tons of characters with different weapons. Combos and weapon attack vary from character to character, which can really differentiate your playstyle. About a year and a half later, a 3DS version of the game was released entitled Hyrule Warriors Legends. This release included 14 new story chapters focusing on the Wind Waker game, the villain Sia, and the new character Linkle. It also includes 3 new adventure mode maps, and new characters including Wind Waker ones. The new content in this release was great, but technically the game couldn't compare to the WiiU version, especially with the amount of enemies on screen. The best reason to get this game was because of a code that came with it which added content to the WiiU version. With the DLC, Hyrule Warriors had 29 characters, including Link, Zelda, Impa, Sheik, Minda, Skull Kid, Tetra, Tingle, the new female version Linkle, and more. And that brings us to the definitive version of the game. Coming out for Switch, this is the complete package. It includes all content and DLC from the Wii U and 3DS versions of the game, and only adds the tiniest amount of new content. That new content is a new costume for Link and Zelda, which are based on their Breath of the Wild character designs, and level 4+ weapons for previous Legends characters who didn't have them. Many of the characters are now unlocked from the start, so no need to replay through all of the old content if you've already played through story mode. You should be able to just get the rest of the characters by playing through some of the adventure maps. Overall, Hyrule Warriors suffers from some of the same issues as previous Dynasty Warriors games, which is the monotonous combat and long stages. This is offset a bit by the minor puzzle-solving aspects of the stages and bosses, but it's still a factor. Because of the stages being based on different Zelda games, The environments are fairly distinct visually and in their design, which does help the game from feeling like you're playing the same missions over and over. There's also a ton to do here for those who really want to dive deep into the game. There's different modes that mix things up quite a bit. There's a bunch of unlockables and collectibles, including golden Skellitas, completing the objectives to get different medals, and unlocking all the badges for each character. If you haven't played the Wii U or 3DS version of this game, and even if you haven't played any previous Dynasty Warriors games, this is the great one to start with. It's probably my favorite Dynasty Warriors clone. If you've only played the Wii U version, you should check this one out because there is a ton of new stuff here. But if you have played the 3DS Legends version already, then it's up to you because, you've already played through all this content, it will play better and look better, but you've kind of seen it all, so it really depends on how hardcore of a Zelda fan you are. And that's kind of the biggest hit here. Overall, it's a great package, but we've seen it all before and there's so little new content. I would have at least appreciated a couple maps based on Breath of the Wild. I don't think that would have been too hard to get in there. But again, I think this is great for people who didn't have a Wii U, who didn't want to play it on the 3DS. Now they can check it out since the Switch is doing so well. Thanks for checking out this preview. If you're new to the channel, check out our other videos. We don't do too much content like this, but we're planning on doing more soon. We usually do retrospectives covering the libraries of all kinds of different consoles and blind Let's Plays of import games, and we're going to be doing some reviews of those games sometime soon too. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for checking this out. I'll see you guys later.